long before he was setting the AGT stage ablaze with percussive power chords and electrified classical riffs. Marcin Patrzalek was just a quiet kid from Kielce, Poland, barely 10 years old when he first picked up a classical guitar. But what followed was anything but ordinary. Within just a few years, this young talent wasn't just learning songs. He was redefining how the instrument could be played. At only 14, he stunned his home country by winning Poland's version of Must Be the Music, crafting his own mashups of flamenco, metal, classical, and electronic styles. His fingers moved like lightning, his rhythms punched like drums, and his arrangements defied all tradition. What people saw wasn't just talent, it was innovation, raw and unfiltered. Unlike many viral musicians who rely on flashy gimmicks or trendy covers, Marcin built his following through pure originality. He wasn't copying anyone. He was creating something entirely new. His performances blurred genres, sometimes mixing Beethoven's symphonies with dubstep beats, or slapping his guitar body like a cajon while ripping through Paganini's violin solos. The internet couldn't get enough. Clips of Marcin's performances racked up millions of views on Facebook and YouTube. Instagram guitar accounts flooded with shares. He became a global sensation practically overnight, without the help of a major label or marketing machine. And yet, even as the world began to recognize his genius, Marcin remained intensely private. He let his guitar speak. He rarely gave interviews. There were no loud claims, no attention-seeking stunts, just focused artistry and increasingly complex compositions. Fans weren't just watching a musician rise, they were witnessing a revolution in guitar performance, led by a teenager who refused to play by the rules. But while Marcin's star kept rising online, what came next would put him on one of the biggest stages on Earth and reveal just how polarizing genius can be under bright lights. When Marcin Patrzalek stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage in 2019, the crowd didn't know what to expect, but they certainly didn't see this coming. In a single breathless performance, Marcin dismantled every stereotype about classical guitar. Instead of strumming chords or playing soft melodies, he unleashed an electrified arrangement of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony that sounded like an entire orchestra packed into one man. His hands struck, tapped, slapped, and plucked in a blur, part guitar, part percussion, part pure chaos, yet perfectly controlled. The judges sat frozen. Simon Cowell, not known for handing out compliments easily, simply stared, stunned. Howie Mandel called him a one-man band, while Julian Hough gushed over his originality. Within hours, his audition clip was flooding YouTube, Twitter, and Reddit threads worldwide. Marcin wasn't just a contestant, he had become the moment. But that wave of viral excitement would take a strange turn. Despite a strong showing in the judge cuts and a mesmerizing semi-final performance, where he performed his own original composition, Marcin was eliminated before reaching the finals. Fans were outraged. The comment section of AGT's YouTube channel exploded. He got robbed. Best talent of the season. This is why the show isn't about talent anymore. Theories swirled online. Some pointed to voting controversies. Others blamed production choices that favored more conventional acts. Marcin himself never lashed out. He posted a brief thank you to fans, then faded back into silence, leaving viewers confused. Why would a breakout act, who had all the viral momentum, millions of views, judges' praise, global buzz, suddenly vanish from the AGT machine? Some speculated he was disillusioned by the reality TV process. Others wondered if he had been pressured to change his artistic style for the show, and refused. Whatever the truth, his early exit became one of the season's most controversial moments. Marcin didn't lose on talent. He lost on something far more complicated, and that mystery only deepened as he retreated from mainstream appearances. After his shock elimination from America's Got Talent, Marcin Patrzalek didn't crash, he soared, at least on the surface. His social media numbers exploded. Brands began reaching out. His audition video crossed tens of millions of views. Music influencers, reaction channels, and even major publications took notice. He became a poster child for modern guitar innovation. But while the digital applause grew louder, something strange was happening behind the scenes. Marcin wasn't capitalizing on the momentum the way most AGT alumni do. There were no flashy tour announcements, no viral collaborations, no late-night show appearances. Instead, he seemed to pull away, posting sporadically, declining interviews, and keeping his fan base at arm's length. This wasn't the typical trajectory of a rising star. This was something different. Fans began to notice long gaps between uploads. His YouTube channel, once brimming with complex guitar arrangements, started slowing down. Rumors began surfacing across fan forums and Reddit. Was Marcin burned out? Was he facing pressure to commercialize his art? Had he clashed with labels behind closed doors? Some even wondered if the very system that had elevated him was now trying to control or repackage him. Marcin, known for his artistic purity and experimental edge, didn't seem like someone who'd bow to corporate templates. He wasn't interested in becoming just another Spotify-friendly guitarist with formulaic hooks and market-tested choruses. And that resistance may have come with consequences. Industry insiders quietly hinted that Marcin turned down multiple offers that didn't align with his creative vision. There were whispers of artistic disagreements, label rejections, and high-pressure meetings. But Marcin stayed silent, never confirming, never complaining. He simply kept creating quietly, on his own terms. In an age where fame demands constant visibility, his decision to retreat felt almost rebellious. He wasn't fading, he was resisting. And that resistance came at a cost. Fewer public appearances, minimal press coverage, and growing questions about whether he was okay. Was he overwhelmed, or simply walking a different path? One that didn't include the spotlight? For most rising stars, social media is a megaphone, loud, curated, always broadcasting. But for Marcin Patrzalek, Instagram became something else entirely, a veil. While he retreated from the mainstream, fans clung to his posts, hoping to decode the silence. What they found was equal parts mesmerizing and mysterious. Marcin continued to share snippets of his guitar work, videos recorded in minimalist settings, often bathed in natural light, always masterfully played. But gone were the high-production visuals or flashy self-promotion. Each upload felt more like a window into his internal world than a bid for viral fame. He wasn't chasing algorithms. He was whispering to those still listening. But the more he posted, the more questions surfaced. Why no full albums? Why no Spotify drops? Why did every caption feel cryptic, short phrases like "it's not what it seems" or "rest is part of the sound"? Some fans saw beauty in the minimalism. Others sensed a deeper tension. Was he creatively trapped, emotionally drained, or simply operating on a level that mainstream platforms couldn't contain? Whispers of anxiety began circling in online forums. Longtime supporters pointed to his intense perfectionism, the way he would post and delete, re-edit, or completely vanish for months. Others theorized he was deliberately staying low to avoid being molded into a commercial product. One thing was clear, Marcin was keeping a tight grip on his identity, even if it meant losing momentum in a fame-obsessed era. Interestingly, he also appeared to distance himself from the AGT identity altogether. He rarely referenced the show, never used it to promote new content, and subtly stripped it from his public image. It was as if he wanted to erase that chapter, reclaim control, re-establish who he was without the TV spotlight. Behind every filtered frame, fans saw brilliance, but also fragility. The pressure to innovate, stay authentic, and navigate global attention alone may have taken its toll. Still, despite the silence, Marcin never disappeared completely. He just moved differently, quietly, intentionally. While most assumed Marcin Patrzalek had gone quiet, behind the curtain, something entirely different was happening. Hidden away from media circuits and streaming charts, Marcin was crafting a new phase of his artistry, one that didn't rely on views, likes, or trending tags. Quietly, he began posting snippets of original compositions unlike anything he'd released before. Gone were the viral-friendly mashups and thunderous guitar theatrics. In their place, haunting melodies, layered textures, and emotionally complex arrangements that hinted at a deeper evolution. Fans who listened closely noticed something had changed, not just in sound, but in spirit. This wasn't the same teenage prodigy who broke the internet with a Beethoven cover. This was a composer, a storyteller, someone unafraid to strip away the spectacle and reveal the soul. It soon became clear that Marcin wasn't just retreating, he was rebuilding. Rumors began to spread that he had scored short films under a pseudonym, dabbled in cinematic soundscapes, and even produced tracks for unnamed indie artists. While none of these were officially confirmed, fans noticed similarities in playing style and production across several obscure YouTube and Bandcamp projects. In one of his rare captions, he wrote, "Silence is a sound too." That single line lit up fan forums with theories. Was he referencing his absence, teasing an instrumental album, or hinting at something even bigger? Some speculated a hidden identity, an alias used to separate the viral Marcin from the authentic one. Others believed he was experimenting with a new genre altogether, less about performance, more about immersion. Whatever the truth, one thing was certain: Marcin had not stopped creating. He had merely changed the stage. His focus had shifted from applause to authenticity, from performance to purpose. While the public looked for him on talent shows and Spotify charts, he was building something timeless, tucked away from digital noise. He didn't need fanfare. He needed space. In an age where most artists fight for screen time and algorithmic relevance, Marcin Patrzalek did the unthinkable. He walked away. Not in anger, not in failure, but in quiet defiance. In recent years, subtle changes began to emerge. Geodag shifted to Italy. His style grew more introspective, and his online presence became a gentle whisper rather than a roar. No major label rollouts, no live stream concerts, just the occasional glimpse, a dimly lit studio, a cryptic photo captioned "Freedom," or a video clip of him playing alone in nature, far from any crowd. This wasn't just a hiatus, it was a relocation of purpose. Sources close to the indie music scene claimed Marcin had chosen a life of creative solitude, possibly settling in a countryside town in southern Europe. There, he reportedly collaborated with visual artists, attended underground art festivals, and performed in intimate spaces, art galleries, private salons, even candlelit gatherings with no phones allowed. While the world speculated on his next viral move, Marcin was embracing the kind of freedom few artists ever dare pursue: anonymity. To many, it looked like a disappearance. But to those paying attention, it was a metamorphosis. Free from contracts and stage lights, he no longer had to play to anyone's expectations, not AGT's, not the internet's, not the music industry's. He was reclaiming music as expression, not spectacle. And yet, even in his retreat, the legend only grew. Fan communities continued to share his old videos like digital relics, dissecting his every chord for hidden meaning. New guitarists across TikTok and YouTube cited him as their original inspiration. Ironically, the more he distanced himself from the mainstream, the more mythical he became. But was this all by design? Some say Marcin always intended to vanish, to create from the shadows, free from the noise. Others believe he's simply recharging, planning something monumental behind closed doors. What can't be denied is this: Marcin didn't fade because he failed. He faded because he chose something more rare: authenticity without compromise.